Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and we know the Switch 2, or the next Nintendo console, is right around the corner, but what are some things that they could add to the next console to not just make it another Switch? Well, to talk all about it, I'm joined by the wonderful Mr. Alex.
Hello, it's the wonderful Mr. Alex.
Wow, so nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So this video is based on, we're going to be talking about an article that Gavin Lane wrote on NintendoLife.com. Here he wrote 9 things Nintendo could add to make the Switch 2 not just another Switch. But these things are not just the ordinary, like, make it more powerful. This is more obscure, maybe you could call them wacky ideas. So yeah, the first thing on the list is a touchpad on the back. What do you think of this?
Where have we seen that before? I mean, correct, I never had a Vita, so please, anyone in the comments, correct me. I don't know of many games beyond a handful that even remotely use this. You know, I'm not saying that it couldn't work as an idea, and we've seen touchpads work superbly well on things like the Steam Deck. Actually, that's a point. I think I'd rather have touchpads on the front. You know, squeeze them in somewhere, get bigger Joy-Con, stick all the touchpads on the front, all the controls, including the triggers. No, no, just, you know, I think a couple of touchpads on the front would actually be quite a good idea. I understand why it's there on the Steam Deck, it's to give PC compatibility, and I'm not saying that every game should utilize them, but they are flippin' useful, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't had much, well, I don't have a Steam Deck, so I don't exactly know how it feels. It always looked weird to me, but it sounds like it actually works really well.
Admittedly, it's it's mostly useful for games that you want to use a mouse input on, which, you know, Switch doesn't have that problem. It's not trying to run PC games, and if it is, they'll be converted for it. But actually, you know, the more I think about it, a touchpad somewhere on the Switch, I'm not opposed to. It is on the PS, what is it? The DualShock 4, that's what it's called, and the DualSense. Admittedly, I don't think it's used very often, but as an option, not a bad shout. If you're gonna do any of these 9 wacky things, this is one of the ones that I'd actually go for.
What about the next one, Alex? A vitality sensor? I thought it said virtual.
Yeah, this is a joke. Basically, there was a vitality sensor announced and planned for the Wii, and it never came out because, hey, who gives a monkeys?
I will actually say, when I saw this idea at first, I was like, oh, that's stupid. But imagine if you can have a game, like a horror game, that can sense how anxious you're feeling, and the more your heartbeat gets up, the more like it amps up the difficulty. I think that could actually be really fun if implemented correctly, but the usage is very limited.
It is, and I think rather than something that you clip onto your finger, it would have to be something passive in the controller, like, you know, sort of it's just where you would have to grip, or maybe, this is a terrible idea, but in the sticks so that your thumb would be on them, but then some people use the sticks at the sides, that wouldn't work. But something that could sense, you know, your quote-unquote, your vitality, it's your pulse. You know, sort of passively. Not a terrible idea, but I've used, exercise bikes that have them in the handles, and they're rubbish. So it would have to be... It's a gimmick. I like the idea, as sort of like, you know, when you say about the horror and stuff like that, that's a really cool application beyond just, hey, it's Wii Fit. You know, sort of, it does give you that sort of, it does add that sort of extra dimension, but it is niche.
And maybe you could also just have stats, for example, when you're playing on Master Mode in Breath of the Wild, you can see, okay, this is the moment your heart rate was the highest in the entire playthrough, and it's just fighting Blue Bokoblin on the Great Plateau. Anyway, let's move on to...
Whoa, hang on. Sorry, I've just realized something.
Okay.
The Switch already has one.
It has
the IR camera.
Is that a vitality sensor?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, when you do, when you play Ring Fit, you put your thumb over it and it measures your pulse.
Huh. Well, you heard it here. They're just going to keep the camera then. That's why they have it.
The most useful feature on the Switch.
Yeah. Well, the next idea would actually be quite, I don't know if it's useful, but a really cool feature. It's just weird new Joy-Con.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk when the Switch first came out. It's like, oh my god, think of all the weird controllers you could just click onto the side, and you could do different button layouts and like have a fishing reel type thing. Like, I remember, it was so exciting, and essentially nothing came of it. We got a few, like the NES controller, which doesn't really count, I feel. But yeah, apart from that,
I think it's a huge missed opportunity for Nintendo.
Me too.
People would buy these. Imagine a GameCube one you can just slide on, or actually an NES one that doesn't look absolutely horrible when they are on the Switch itself. But yeah, there's so much potential, and I really hope that Nintendo do something differently on the next thing.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it is a huge missed opportunity. And to be honest, even the base Joy-Con, if we get Joy-Con equivalents, whether they're called Pro-Con or not, which
I like that term.
it's a cool term, but at the same time, it is very close to Pro Controller.
True. Either way, the next thing, Alex, it's probably the thing I want the most. And I know you don't, because we briefly chatted about this earlier. It's cameras and mics.
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point?
So, Alex, the reason why I think it would be really cool is because I want to be able to chat with my friends on the Switch itself. I don't want to use Discord. I don't want to use my phone. I want to just be on my Switch. I want to be able, something that would be really cool if you had a camera, other than you can take pictures with your Switch, is that you can, when you're holding it, it would just have your face. And then you can have like a picture-in-picture with your face in the top right corner so you can see your friends while you're playing. I think that would be very cool. And also just the microphone. I mean, I use the PlayStation quite a lot to chat with my friends. And there, it's just really nice that there's a microphone built into the controller. Of course, you can plug in headphones that also has a microphone there. But just the option.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just because I'm a sad, lonely man, but I don't I don't feel the need to see my friends when I'm playing online. You know, I have them on Discord or something like that. Not that I do that very often either, to be brutally honest. I mostly play Stardew these days.
Same.
But good game. But for me personally, and it may be a generational thing, it may just be a preference thing, but I've never seen much value in having a camera. Like, I know we had it on the 3DS, and we had it even on the DSi, and I remember when that came out, I was sort of like, wow, a camera on a handheld? Whoa, let me take a picture. Wow. And that was the extent that I used it, you know? It's sort of like, oh, there's a camera. It's terrible quality. Well, moving on, time to play a real game.
To me, it isn't so much the camera, it's mostly the microphone. I would love to have a microphone on the Switch, or at least on the Pro Controller or the Joy-Con. I don't know, just have it somewhere. You know, you can just mute it if you don't want to use it, but it's really nice for people like me who really wants a microphone there to just be, let's say you don't have any headphones with a microphone on you on the go and you don't want to use your phone or your friends. I don't know, Discord doesn't work. Either way, yeah, I think it's cool. Alex, you don't, and that's totally fine. The next thing, though...
you've just no next thing, Felix, because I've just had a fun idea.
Oh, okay.
I still don't think it's good, but if you are going to do it, it would be really cool if there was a microphone in each Joy-Con, because then you could have binaural microphone, stereo microphone. That's the term, isn't it?
Oh,
binaural,
yeah,
something else.
Then you can like have them out.
You could separate them, and you could like go hello, and you could switch.
Or you can use it as a walkie-talkie. Put a speaker in it, and then you go into the other room with one of the Joy-Con, and yeah, it's brilliant.
So you know, why buy a baby monitor when you can just buy a Switch 2?
Yeah, exactly. The next idea, though, we have confirmed with Gavin, it's not meant to be taken seriously, but you can take it away, Alex.
A solar panel on the top edge of the Switch. So anyone, like, I may have said that, and some people have thought, actually, you know, it wouldn't be loads of power, but it'd be better than nothing. Number one, who plays their Switch outside in the broad daylight? Number two, on the edge of the Switch, it would be a tremendously low power panel, to say the least. Like, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I've dabbled in, you know, looking into solar and stuff like that for a number of different reasons. And by my very, 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 very loose calculations, to give you all an idea, a 5-watt panel, which is kind of essentially the bare minimum for charging anything via USB. And I know, you know, it doesn't have to be like this. It's their own panel. They can do what they like. But just to give you an idea, a 5-watt panel would be about the size of a DVD or GameCube game case or Wii game case. It's the same case. You don't want that on the Switch. Don't want that on the Switch. There are people arguing that cars don't need solar panels on them because they would be so low power, and there's an argument there, but at the same time, you know, any energy is free energy kind of thing, and the car will sit outside in the sun for hours and hours and days at a time. A Switch does not. Also, solar panels get hot, and you don't want that near delicate electronics. Next item, please.
You say you don't park your Switch outside in the sun for hours at end? Shaking my head.
No, it's bad for them. They get sunburn.
I will say I don't have a lot to say about this because I'm not an expert like Alex here. When I heard the idea, it's like, oh.
I'm not an expert like
well,
Alex
you
here
do
either.
know much. I have no idea how much power a solar panel is. I know when I was a kid, I had a solar panel on my calculator and that worked. That's to the extent I know it. So when I heard, oh, you can have it on the Switch, and I didn't think it was that much of a joke. Maybe it could work. I don't know how that works. Of course, you don't play it outside, so it wouldn't work very often. But yeah, it seems like solar panel and Switch, bad idea. But I think the next idea is not a bad idea because it's another USB-C port on the top for stuff, as Gavin puts it.
Yeah, actually, I forgot that this one was on here. This is actually a decent idea because we see it with a few devices. Like, I think the ROG Ally has this. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that there's a number of devices out there that feature a port on the top and the bottom, one of those not being the Steam Deck. And it irritates me to no end because if I want to dock my Steam Deck, I've got to have this horrible cable sort of following around the top, and it's not the end of the world. It's almost the definition of a first world problem. But once you've done that with the Steam Deck and you're fiddling around, I've got to plug it in, all that sort of thing, going back to the Switch and just going ka-chung is just the loveliest thing you'll ever experience.
Yeah, I think to me it would be really nice. Let's say if you want to play in tabletop mode, which I did quite a lot in school. If I wanted to charge it while playing in tabletop mode, well, I bought like a little stand for it, so it would be elevated, so you could still plug it in, and that worked quite nice. But being able to just have it in the top, sometimes it's just a bit annoying. It's in the bottom. I think it would be really nice just for charging, but this also opens the possibility for peripherals. Admittedly, I don't know what peripherals we would use here. Maybe you have some ideas, Alex.
Well, maybe a little USB-C camera or something.
Actually, that's a good idea. Oh.
Well, also, anything that you can plug into the bottom, you plug into the top, something like, because sometimes, if you're playing your Switch and you want it, maybe if you're playing it in bed, which I know people do, maybe you want it resting against your torso. You don't want, sort of like, as you say, just like a charging cable, but maybe you want some digital headphones. Rather than using the analog audio jack, you can use a USB-C connection for some proper, lovely, crisp sound. Because I actually found out through my personal use that the DAC, if it is, I don't even know if it is a DAC, digital to audio converter.
Oh, okay.
In the Switch for the analog output, it may go by a different name. Again, I'm not an expert. It ain't great. I'm not gonna lie. It's not great.
Really? I've never had any.
I
think the audio quality is great. Well, at least I have some pretty good wired headphones, and when I use that, it sounds really good. It's only when I use like Bluetooth. Bluetooth is horrible.
Oh yeah, Bluetooth's crap. Yeah.
Actually, it's not on the list, but better Bluetooth. That would be so lovely for audio.
Yeah, but I found this when I was on holiday in Japan. I was using the headphones that I'm currently wearing, as it happens, and they're Bluetooth, but I was using they're USB-C as well, and I was using that to a 3.5mm adapter, and playing Smash. It was just some of the sounds when there's lots going on. Just some of the sounds get a bit crunchy and a bit sort of clippy, and like it's minor. It's not a big deal by any means, but it annoyed me. I bought good headphones. I want to hear good audio. Plugged them in via USB-C, and it fixed. It was all good. It was good. It was lovely.
Wow.
And I was a happy boy.
Well, that's great to know. I actually saw a thing in the article that this could also be used to connect switches together. You could like do some, with the Game Boy Advance, you had the cable that you could link them like that. You could do something like that. I don't know how that would work.
I mean, you could do that with the ports on the bottom as well, admittedly.
Can you do that? Does it work? Is it a feature?
No, but I'm saying you could.
Oh, I know.
You don't need another port to do that.
Well, you can do this while they're both docked. Anyway, let's move on.
Or you can plug into two switches with one system.
So the next one, I'm really sorry Sion isn't here, but time zones. The next one is Street Pass. And you can actually hear Sion being happy in his sleep right now. It's great. But yeah, Street Pass, I would love this feature on the Switch. It incentivizes you more to just get it around with you, even though you're not using it. Just put it in your backpack and then you walk past. I would just like to know who has Switches, because at least in Denmark, I don't see a lot of Switches in the wild. And maybe people would use it more. I don't know. I just think it's a cool feature on the 3DS that is a shame it's not on the Switch.
It is a shame, because I thought it was fun. I think there is definitely an angle of kind of like data protection these days that wasn't quite there when Street Pass originally came out. I'm not saying they couldn't do it or they shouldn't do it or anything like that, but that would have to be a consideration now. I'm almost certain of it. But I actually had this idea, I think, in 2017. I don't know. And I didn't even know I had this idea. I didn't remember, at least, until just now. It just reminded me. Maybe you wouldn't have to take your whole console. What if you could just slip a Joy-Con in your pocket and it's got a little low energy mode and it just bipping and it's got all the data on it. You take it back, slot it into your Switch. Hey, guess who you met when you were out and about?
Yeah. No, because the Switch, you can definitely take it with you, but it's not very often that I play my Switch when, for example, I go take a bus ride. And it's like, I don't want my whole Switch if it gets stolen. I don't know. It's a lot of games on it, but a Joy-Con, I can manage that. I can even just put that in my pocket. I don't need a backpack.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
Stick it in the pocket.
Yeah, I love that.
Go out and about.
That's
and you come back.
Good wacky idea. Great stuff.
Who did I see? You could hold your Joy-Con up to your head and it could even read out to you saying, "It's a me, Mario. You met 4 people today."
Actually, the Joy-Con, with the idea of having a mic, the way that you use it is actually put it up to your ear like a phone, and that's how you use it. You can't use it any other way. But yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. I hope that they do that. Moving on to the 8th thing. It's an auto-stereoscopic 3D screen.
Bless you.
Either way, I love the 3D on my 3DS. I love my 3D on my new 3DS. I hope that they add this is why we need a camera, or at least like a tiny one that can detect your eyes if you're playing on the Switch itself. I would love this feature like on a proper big screen. I don't know how well it would work, but imagine this in 720p where it's not crunchy and stuff and things. I don't know, Mario pops out the screen. I would love that. Be so cool. It would be more expensive, but I would pay for that. I'm a big 3D enjoyer.
It would be a lot more expensive, to say the least. Also, personally, I think 3D is something that the industry has been desperately trying to make a thing since like the 90s and probably even before then. Like I remember, sort of 3D, and you go to a cinema and you'd have glasses with red and blue lenses and it would make it look terrible. But it would look like, whoa, it's coming out of the screen towards you. And it's like, I don't need this. This isn't necessary. And it's, in some ways, I actually feel it breaks the immersion. When something comes out of the screen, it's like if it's all negative space, it's behind and it's like you're looking through a window. I actually think that there's merit in it. But it's when things go into positive space beyond the screen, and then suddenly it goes off screen slightly, and so this thing that's supposed to be popping out is randomly cut in half because it's at the edge of the screen. That breaks the immersion for me. Also, you have to sacrifice half your resolution horizontally if you do this.
Oh. Well,
yeah, the 3DS's screen is actually twice the resolution widthways compared to what's actually what you actually see, because half of that resolution is going to the it's split between 2 eyes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't see this being a thing. It's just too much of a niche stuff. I would love it.
Expensive as well.
Yeah,
very expensive.
The Switch 3D. That would be great.
Oh, that would have to be the 3rd Switch, though, surely.
True. Yeah.
Just like they did with the DS.
Yeah.
I bet they were furious, weren't they? They wanted the Switch, the 2DS, the DS2, and then suddenly they had the idea of 3DS, and it's like, no, but it's not the 3rd one. Maybe that's why they released the DSi.
Maybe. The 9th thing on the list is actually, I think this is a great idea. This is faceplates or backplates or Game Boy covers with buttons. So the way that this would work, and this is actually a patent that Nintendo filed back in 2018, is like a Game Boy style cover that you can add to your smartphone. But what if you could turn your Switch on like horizontally, put a little cover on it so you have buttons, and then play Game Boy games. So it's like it's all lined up with like a little cutout for the Game Boy games. I think that if executed properly, that would be great. I don't know how it will work with the buttons pressing in on the screen. I think this has been done for like phones in the past.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it has. It's a fun idea, but I can't help but feel that if they ever did release this, people go, "Hey, wow, this is fun. Why can't I just use the proper controls?
Well, maybe you could do that, but it's like you can play it either like this. It's like an add-on you can buy to if you want to play it like the original experience, or you can just play it normally on your Switch, just like an additional feature for people who are diehards and want to spend $100 on that. But yeah, either just faceplate so you can change out the back of your like Switch, or like the dock itself. Again, Nintendo, you can make so much money here. People want to be
they did that with the 3DS.
I know,
didn't they?
They did.
And I must admit, I was a sucker for those faceplates. I've got so many I basically have never used. I've got some that are signed by Monster Hunter developers. And I wouldn't really want my console. I wouldn't want my actual console to be signed by someone because, I'd be worried about wearing it out or something like that, and any number of things. But like a faceplate, it's like, oh, I don't have to take my whole console. I can just say, oh, could you sign this? Ba-boom. I'm not saying I'm constantly seeking Monster Hunter developers, but sort of that's nice. To me, it's sort of like, well, now I can have that on if I want, or if I don't, I can just not. And I really miss the faceplates. So I don't want the physical like Game Boy stuff going on. I don't care about that. I just want faceplates again.
I only have a new 3DS XL, and those don't have faceplates. So I've never had the true experience of faceplates, but I would love to. Because, when you're a collector, you want your Switch to be the coolest, and maybe you just want some variety. It's also a great gift for someone who has a Switch. Look, now you can make your Switch double as cool. Maybe even triple as cool if you're very good at gift giving. Or,
it also opens up, and I'm certain people did this. I can't remember any specific examples, but I'm certain people did custom ones.
Yeah.
Because you could just buy white faceplates, and you could just draw or paint on them. And then that would be an even better gift. Admittedly, potentially rub off, but nothing in life lasts forever. The sun will explode.
Wow. But Alex, do you have any wacky ideas yourself? Because that was the end of the article. So maybe you can...
a little USB-C camera type thing. I don't know. I didn't really think that far ahead. Have you had any ideas?
No. I have no ideas right now. It is great to be idealist. So
what about MM-Wave, like a dock that uses millimeter wave?
You're just saying nonsense right now, Alex. What is that?
It's the same thing that the Alamo uses. Millimeter wave can be used to do all sorts of things, and it can be, I think, higher frequency or lower frequency. I can't remember, but maybe a dock that knows how close you are to it.
Oh, so an IR camera?
No. It's kind of like a passive thing, like Alamo has it. There's no IR camera on there, but it still senses your movement.
Oh, okay.
You're the Alamo man.
I don't know the technical. I just know it detects when I get up. That's all I know. It could be used then as like an Xbox Kinect thing, couldn't it? In theory, because it can detect.
Yeah, that'd be good. That was so successful. A water bottle holder.
Alex, you got all the ideas. Just keep them coming. A
pencil sharpener. Built-in headphones that you can just slip out the back, like little earbuds that are inside the Joy-Con. You slip them out, stick them in.
That's sick.
A second screen that you could... No, that's terrible. Nintendo would never do that.
No. A third screen. That's where it's at.
Now
not enough screens.
Rather than just one screen, many smaller screens that can be pulled out like small little chocolates from a chocolate box.
Well... Alex took all the ideas. I have none left. So there you have it. Those are a lot of wacky things they could add to make the Switch 2 different. But what are some ideas that you have for potentially the next Nintendo console? It can be wacky. It can be just some wishes that you want. Maybe it's just the stuff that you would like to see from this list. Well, let us know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you add a lot of little chocolate screens to the subscribe button and then give it a little click with your finger because it's a screen and it's a touch screen. And also don't forget to check out our website, NintendoLoft.com, where we can find articles like this one that Gavin made, but in written form. Stay safe. And we'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Life. Out.
17 USB-C ports, all on the sides.
Yeah.